what you do with EduVerse is that you bring teachers together, despite where we may be in different parts of the world. You bring everybody together and allow people, teachers all across the world, to learn from each other. Quite often teachers we exist in silos. It's like we may step out of our school, but we may not. And if you're limiting your training to just the expertise in that school, then by its very nature, it's quite limited and constricted. Today I'm here with Wok Lee Din Bao Kwok, the founder of ProEd Solutions and EduVerse. Wok is talking to me all the way from Vietnam with the wonders of technology. Wok, can I ask you to introduce yourself and tell us a bit more about what you do?
Hello, Aslam, and thank you for inviting me. First off, my name's Wook, right? And I've been working in education for over 20 years now. My background is teaching English. Um, and then after working for many big schools in Vietnam, I started my own um, my own company. This like ProEd Education Solution. This is a consultancy company, and we provide um, solutions. We provide radical ideas for schools who want to improve or who want to enhance their quality. And EduVerse is one of our initiatives to provide free PD resources for teachers all around the world.
That's amazing. What kind of PD resources do you provide teachers then?
Teacher training, like curriculum development or operations. So we help schools to perform better in terms of teaching quality, or learning outcomes, and also how to optimize their resources the most effectively. And yeah, EduVerse is for teachers to improve professionally on the free of charge. So we give them radical ideas, radical articles, free webinars from expertise to help them improve their teaching practices so that they can enhance their teaching in class.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully delivering one of your webinars very, very soon. 'Cause I think it's really interesting that what you do with EduVerse is that you bring teachers together, despite where we may be in different parts of the world. You bring everybody together and allow people, teachers all across the world, to learn from each other. Quite often teachers we exist in silos. It's like we may step out of our school, but we may not. And if you're limiting your training to just the expertise in that school, then by its very nature, it's quite limited and constricted. Even though the expertise may be great, those possibilities are far more endless if you widen that net and you include other schools in that country and region. But then, even more if you include the schools all across the world and allow teachers all across the world to learn from each other and to connect.
One of the things we can do, you just mentioned that we play as a bridge to connect to bridge the gap between expertise and teachers around the world. Some expertise they want to share their expertise. Some experts they want to share their expertise, right? And some teachers they eager to learn, but they do not have enough resources. For example, for teachers in remote area, that's why we try to connect them so that they can benefit from each other. One of the things that we are really happy to do when I work for EduVerse, that is when I invited experts to contribute to the EduVerse platform or EduVerse projects, they're all happy to do. Even though, yeah, of course, they do not have any compensation, but they know the vision, they know the purpose of this platform, so they're all happy to do.
You know what, Wok? What you told me really links to the idea of a globalization. With globalization, we're blurring the lines between countries, and what you're doing now is you're blurring the line between countries when it comes to education and those conversations between educationalists, theorists, experts in the field. So I think that's really, really, worth shouting about, because it's quite pioneering what you're doing, and I wish more people had that outset of connecting teachers in different parts of the world. And like you say, when teachers are contributing to your newsletter, to your webinars, they do it quite happily, even though they haven't met you physically, they haven't met the other teachers on the platform, and yet they're happy to contribute because as teachers, we know how valuable PD is. We know how valuable expertise is, and if the expertise is in a different part of the world, then that's where it is. But with technology, we can connect people and we can get them talking. And I might have a problem in my school that's been dealt with by a school hundreds of thousands of miles away. They've sorted that. They figured out a great solution to that. But I won't know that solution unless I'm connecting with that teacher in that school hundreds of thousands of miles away. So I think that's one of the merits of what you're doing is you're allowing teachers to try and solve the problems that they have through expertise that may be hundreds of miles away.
And then technology right now, teachers can learn from everyone. They can learn anytime, and I think that is the best thing, that or the best difference, the best change that technology brings to education and brings to teachers. Remember in the past that we can only learn from the books, right? We can learn from our colleagues in the school or in the cities. But now with technology, with webinars and things like that, and also platform like LinkedIn, like Facebook or Instagram, we can learn anything or in anywhere. And another thing I like, and I see the changes very clear, that is collaboration and interaction between people in the same community, like in teaching community. So I think that is the best change when we see that the difference between education now and education in the past.
I agree. Technology has impacted on education significantly. I was recently chairperson in an academic conference on artificial intelligence, and we had teachers come from all across the country to talk about robotics for inclusion, the place of AI in education. What's your opinion? Where do you think artificial intelligence lies? What's the best direction for teachers and schools to head when it comes to creating an AI policy, implementing practices when it comes to AI? What do you think?
AI is I think it's a hottest topic, right? For the last 2 or 3 years, especially when it happened as in education. One thing you think about, you asked me about AI in education. Teachers and educators, or even like school admin people in education, they are now well aware of AI in the classroom or in education. Teachers not they can use AI now for their students too, and also you see the student, they use AI everywhere. I remember when ChatGPT first appeared, many schools try to ban AI use in the class.
Like a knee-jerk reaction. Whoop, nope, ban that, stop it everywhere, put the blocks on.
Okay, but now of course we see that is like a calculator. When we have a calculator,
I like that walk. That's a really, really very interesting comparison. That chat GPT is like a calculator.
yeah, we have a calculator. We cannot ban student from using calculator to do maths, right? Um, but the thing that I think that in the future or now and toward the futures, what teachers and educators like us should be aware of, that is how we balance the use of AI and um, you know internal we'll say interaction, right, or the person to person relationship between student to student, teacher to teacher, and teacher to students. AI will and should not replace things that humans can do.
When I talk to my students, I tell them that so I use AI to help me with modeling. So I'll feed in the success criteria of what I want my students to produce. It'll give me a model, and I will then adapt that. That's never the final product. I'll adapt and change and say, this is what I want you to produce, okay? And this is the AI generated version. Let's see if you can come up with something better than that. And you encourage that we humans are better than the AI, okay? Because we have that critical thinking, which AI sometimes it can make individual arguments. But right now, ChatGPT can't give you a full academic essay which has a strand of an argument through it. It can't do that. It'll give you gobbledygook if you try and get it to write you an entire assignment. So I tell my students, it can show you how to do something, but it has limitations, And when it comes to, like you say, something humans have created, AI should never be used. And in our conversations with young people, I always think it's important to tell them that message. It should never be used to create something that humans are meant to produce.
Very, very, very important points that it has limitation, and I think however hard IT or AI engineer try, so AI will not cannot replace like a very complicated machines like us. Yeah, people are very complicated machine, right? But we have emotions, we have reasonings, right? I recently finished a chapter in an AI use, right, for education book. And yeah, in that chapter, I wrote about how AI can help people um, improve their critical thinking. And so this way, not only people, we use our critical thinking to evaluate AI's responses or AI's products, but how AI can help us improve them, improve our own critical thinking, so that we can use AI effectively. So I think now AI and HI, like human intelligence, right?
I like that. I've never heard that before. Human intelligence, AI versus HI. That's amazing.
Yeah, on that point, I just like to let you know briefly a sneak peek that EduVerse newsletter, EduVerse magazine, the next special edition in May will be about AI and us, how we live in harmony.
I would love to. I would love to contribute something to that because I've got a lot to say.
Mm.
Talking about writing, by the way. So from concept to final version, I involved my students in the conversation. I said, guys, I'm writing a book. I'll share with you a chapter and tell me what you think. And they said, this is really good, sir. So we finally got it done. I finally got it finished. And when I showed them the final version, here it is. This is my novel. It's called Boyhood: A Teenage Survival Guide. It's a teenage fiction book, and in this book, to go through my all of my adventures as a kid when I was a teenager. It tells teenagers how to survive being a teenager, and the things to avoid, like playing Cupid. But the funny thing is that when I showed my students, they said, "Sir, why didn't you just get AI to do the cover work for you?" I said, "No, no, no." And they said, "Sir, why didn't you get it to write the inside?" I said, "Then it wouldn't be mine. And how can I claim it as being something I produced and celebrate it and sell it as a book if it's been AI generated?" The whole point is I wanted this book to have my voice. I wanted it to be in my unique, personalized approach to life. And using AI will get rid of that. It will just be, computer generated. And the funny thing was, talking about limitations, I didn't do the artwork. So the artwork was done by an artist. The first artist I hired, I gave it to him, and within about 2 days, he returned me the cover. But there was something off about it, Wak. The pictures were all weird. The eyes were in weird places. The bus was from 1972. It was entirely wrong, and that wasn't the brief I gave him. So I said, "What is this?" He said, "No, I drew this." And he lied, actually. I said, "This looks AI generated." He said, "No, no, 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 I drew this." I said, "Give me a second." And I don't forget, he's a freelance artist. I hired this guy. I put it into an AI detector software. It told me it's 100% AI generated. So I screenshotted it. I said, "I'm really sorry. I don't think I can work with you because you didn't draw this yourself." So then I had to, and this is the world we live in now. I had to, kind of fire him. My second artist, he said, I do drawings. I have a long. I looked at his portfolio. It looked good, but I said, "I'm really sorry. I have to ask you. Can you show me an early sketch, pencil drawing? Don't give me final version. I want to see early sketch. I would like you to prove that you're not using AI. I'm really sorry to have to ask you this." You know what he said? "This is completely normal. This is completely normal for me. I understand. I understand." So he gave me some early sketches. I was very happy with it. And we worked on this until it was finally done. And I'm proud to say is that this book internally and on the cover, nothing is AI generated, it's human generated, and it's HI as it were. And I can claim it as being my book. But we are in that world now where people will look for shortcuts and think, "Oh, I've got to do such and such. I've got a deadline to meet. Let me use AI." So when I talk to my students about this, I say, nothing you create should be AI generated. It should be human generated. You know, if we don't want a world where the machines and the robots are superior or above us, then we have to be the ones that take that lead and never allow them to do our work for us.
Yeah, yeah. I think that, yeah, the use of AI is I think as long as, like, for example, in my EduVerse, right, in the EduVerse webinars or EduVerse magazines, I just tell all the contributors that the use of AI is okay. They can use AI to write. However, they need to be responsible for what they write, right? Responsible for the content that AI generated in their writings. Um, so that I mentioned earlier that that is an effective tool. Yeah, just make use of that. But we need to know how to use it effectively.
Yes. Okay. Well, moving on from AI then, and your PD programs that you offer. So ProEd Solutions offers tailored professional development. How do you ensure that your programs stay relevant and impactful for educators today? Where do you get your inspiration from when it comes to your PD topics for teachers?
Um, for EduVerse magazines topics, usually, uh, of course, first of all, we have to get our own ideas, right? You know, through on the trends and on the innovation happening every day in the world, right? And the second thing, the second source that we can get ideas from is from our from input from the readers, from the educators, and also for EduVerse, we always focus on the practicality of the contents. That means it's not like you look at the magazine, you see that it is not like a normal journal. It is more like a magazine with radical ideas that they can use right away in their classroom. So yeah, that's something about how we get ideas from for the webinars and for the magazines.
When it comes to your programs, then how do you measure or assess the success of a program? And what metrics do you track to ensure the educators are truly benefiting?
Um, for Bright Education Solution, if we provide the solution or um, the resolution for the school, right? We always look at the feedback. We always look at the how the teacher use them or how the school use them. And the most important we look at is the learning outcome, because any solution we give them should focus on the learning outcomes. So we look at that through surveys, through feedback, and we, after we give them the solution, right, we will be there with them. We will not leave them there. So we're there with them for about 1 year to so that we can help them improve or adjust the product or the solutions. For EduVerse, we are now looking at how teachers use the idea or make use of the ideas of the contents in EduVerse, like magazine or webinars, to enhance their classroom. You know what? In July this year, we will celebrate the second anniversary of EduVerse, and we just launched a survey, kind of feedback survey for our readers and our participants of the webinars, and we get very good feedback. Yeah, very good feedback from them, saying how they use it, especially for newbie teachers. For new teachers, they really appreciate our contents. So that's something we use to evaluate or our success or as a motivator for our work now. And like for EduVerse, we reach 200 countries now. So that is a very we can feel that is a successful milestone to us.
No, congratulations on reaching that anniversary, and that really is a milestone. The first year for any company or business, especially within education, really is the make or break point, because if there is longevity, it will survive that first year. If there isn't, then things kind of fizzle out a little bit. So congratulations on that. That's a truly big milestone,
Thank
and
you.
I think your newsletter, your anniversary newsletter, should be something special. If it was me, if I was the editor, I'd have highlights from all the countries that you're involved in, all the success stories, like you said, the user feedback as well. That should all be part of the anniversary newsletter edition, because that's truly a milestone, and I think you can only go onwards and upwards from that.
Yeah, and yeah, in July we will have a big. Just mentioned you that the anniversary, right? And we plan to have a big event on that, also free for teachers to use. And we, of course, we need support from expertise, like from experts like you, for example.
Happy to help out with your anniversary any way you can. If there's a party, I'm there. If it's an online party, I'm there too. You're
Yeah.
happy to help out and celebrate that, because it's really amazing. And I'm quite glad that this podcast comes just as we are reaching your anniversary, because it just celebrates all of that as well. How do you set your webinars apart from others, and what can attendees expect from participating in those webinars?
I think first of all, right, so that is totally free for teachers, and we focus on practical strategies. We know that teachers, when I in my country, for example, in very remote area, teacher they can learn um, from theories, but they lack reality. So our webinars focusing on practical strategies and the real life classroom situations, so that teachers they can see themselves in any example, any situation that mentioned in the webinars. Um, so and also the expert or the speaker, the presenter that we invited, they all have very good experience in real life situation in real life classroom. We not only focus on theory, we focus more on um, the the things that teacher can use right away after they finish their webinars. So that's why we have a lot of educator, and you know that some of the presenters are only they are just, we can say, normal teachers, but they have experience in their classroom.
I think that's very important. Quite often, um, you know, a person can do a qualification, but they don't necessarily have the experience. Nothing. One thing I found in life, walk, is that nothing in life can beat experience. In any, in any situation, whether it's a chef, an experienced chef will know exactly what to do in the kitchen. You might have all the qualifications to participate in the kitchen, but you won't. That's all the theory. The practical side is where the value comes in. And in any field, even if it's engineering, if you got an engineer that has so many qualifications because they studied so much, but hands-on experience, it's not there. They won't come near an experienced engineer that's built so many things and put together so many different aspects of engineering. So that experience, even if it's coming from, like you say, teaching is a very respectable subject. And I was talking to a Hollywood actor the other day, and he was saying we don't give teachers enough credit, actually, because they're the real champions. And he said, we should give more credit, because his mother was a teacher too. And he said it's nothing like acting. Acting is easy. Teaching is really hard. So if your experts are teachers, they may not have the positions of seniority, but that doesn't matter. They have the experience, and that's what counts.
Yeah, I didn't mean that theory is not good, right? We always need theory, we always need research, so that we can have good practice. However, for teachers, um, we focus on how to have them um, apply what they learn right away in their classroom, because that's what they are really in need of. Um, so I think that's what make our webinars a little different from other webinars around the world.
Having people with hands-on experience is what really counts. That's really important.
And I myself used to teach a lot, right? I back in 10 years ago,
And you taught English. I teach English.
I taught English too.
Which books did you used to teach?
I teach. I think back then, about 10 years ago, books like Oxford Solutions from Oxford, um, like Everybody Up, right, from Oxford too. So on those books for general English courses, um, yeah, for students here in Vietnam, the English teaching and English learning is very exciting here in Vietnam.
Wow. You didn't study any literature like books like Shakespeare or poetry or anything?
No, that is only for um, English major student in the university.
Oh, really? Oh, no. So at the lower end, they don't study any poetry or Shakespeare or anything. Oh, I hope that changes soon because the kids would love it.
Yeah, yeah. Over here in Vietnam, we are not a English speaking countries, right? So students in class they learn about literature, but in Vietnamese. For students who want to improve their English communication, for example, they will go, to extracurriculum center, English center, and I work there, I teach them. And for students who want to become English teachers, they go to college, they go to universities, and they will have to learn all those things like literature in English or British culture and things like that.
I wanted to ask you, Wok, if you could cast your mind back to the first time you stepped into a classroom, and what was that like? Because I remember I felt so lost because there was all these young people, children in front of me, and they're looking at me like I have to have all the answers. And I just stepped into a classroom and I was thinking, oh my goodness, there's about 25 children, 25 little people expecting me to have all of the answers. And that's that moment when you think, I really need some experience.
Yeah.
I need to talk to someone really experienced because this is, imagine you're just at college, you just graduated from university, suddenly you're in a classroom. And that's when you really value that experience and you listen to anyone and everyone around you, think, tell me about this job because this is such a unique profession. Sometimes as university students, we had like summer jobs and nothing compares to being in that classroom. That's when you really value that experience.
That's right. Yeah, I think I heard many people say that teachers teachers really do different kind of jobs in their teaching job, right? Um, I remember my first day in class. Actually, I was trained to become a English teacher formally. That means I finished um, university as a teacher of English. Um, so my feeling, because before I came into an official classroom, I usually during school time I already had some kind of practice. We go to some high school, some secondary school to watch, and then to practice teaching there. So my my first day at school is not really different from what I imagined before. However, it was like a very very strange feeling that now I know that I had the responsibility to teach them, to be responsible for the learning outcomes, right? And that is something that go with me for the whole of my career, my life, even now. So when I do a lot of training for teachers to be, or for training for academic managers, right? I always give them the first advice, the first piece of advice, that is, always think for your student. Whatever you do as a teacher, as a academic manager, it will affect the student's life in the future. So always think for your students. Yeah, so that is something about my first experience walking into a real classroom.
Yeah, yeah, it is. You don't forget it, do you? You don't forget that first experience. You don't forget it because
I think for Broad Education Solutions, we will start looking at different regions, maybe some neighboring countries, and in Southeast Asia. We will seek for more partnerships with other schools to promote effective tools for teachers and students. Actually, we are now building an app for teachers professional development, so teacher can improve professionally using our app. So that's what we are doing, and we hope that in the next 5 years we will become become known in more countries. For EduVerse, we will develop to make it become a go-to hub for innovative and radical and impactful professional development for teacher around the world. So whenever they need something new, something trendy, something radical for their teaching, so they can go to EduVerse. So now we have EduVerse newsletter already. We have new EduVerse webinars. We already have EduVerse podcast, and we have EduVerse Facebook community, so where they can go and ask and connect with other members in the community. Yeah.
That's brilliant. So I'd like to now ask you just for some personal insights. So as a leader, you're in charge of the company. What habits or practices do you find most essential to your own professional development? You're so much focus on the development, personal development of other teachers. What about your own personal and professional development? What habits or practices would you say are important for that?
I think the first thing is you will have to have a growth mindset. You always want to learn, right? Learning all the time, and stay curious, stay encouraged, and do not feel scared, right? This is something I always give advice to our people. You know what I always looked at or read news and resources from LinkedIn, and whenever I browse the web, browse LinkedIn, I see new apps, new AI technology, or new ad tech tools, something like that. And sometimes I feel like I feel scared because how can I know everything like this? How can I know how to use all the tools here? So sometimes I feel overloaded, overwhelmed, and I feel scared. But later I think that we always need to learn what we need to know, and how we can use what we learn effectively. So that is something very important. And the next thing is relate what you learn to your real teaching practices. Because if you learn, this one, but it doesn't help your teaching, so I think it's nothing. It's meaningless. So try to relate what you learn to your teaching practices and reflect on what you did. I think that's how we can improve professionally.